This Pokemon Nuzlocke is going to take place across every generation, starting where it all began, Generation 1. And it pains me to say, but instead of choosing Charmander this time around, I went for the optimal Squirtle. Please don't crucify me. And on the way to the first gym, I picked up 4 more teammates. Rattata, Nidoran Male, Pidgey, and a Metapod. I'm not going to pretend like this is hard. I've got a water type against Brock. I pressed bubble a couple of times, and he's fallen over, which brings us up to the next generation. So I guess now I should explain the rules. On top of the traditional hardcore Nuzlocke rules, once I beat a gym, I go up a generation, going all the way to Generation 2 to just after the Falkner fight. We're going to be playing Crystal until we beat the second gym, Bugsy, and the Pokemon I catch will be coming with me to the next game until they can't. And if you're super interested, I'll leave a link in the description to a list of the eligible encounters for each game. What is it, I'm busy in the middle of this Nuzlocke. You have a free Pokemon egg for me? I'll take any encounter I get. Shout out to Elm for the free Togepi egg, but they'll be staying in the box for now as I approach Route 33. I really have my fingers crossed to hopefully get a Mareep because Ampharos is my favorite Pokemon, but instead, Bellsprout. Felt like I could have got so much better. It turns out Route 33 doesn't have Mareep in Crystal. What a dumb change. But luckily, Union Cave had something in store for us. Ooh, we'll take the water ground type. That is actually really fucking good. Route 33, Newmon here too. Poison Cure Berry, also known as a, what's that called in the new games again? On this route, I found Geodude, which I was initially pretty annoyed at, but actually Geodude's pretty good for Scyther actually. That's actually good Pokemon for Scyther. Because Scyther's 4 times weak to rock. And honestly, it's probably the second best encounter after a Heracross, but I can't even headbutt yet anyway. Usually my strat for Bugsy would just be to use my fire starter Pokemon, but seems as we don't have one of those. I was going to just use Pidgey, which would have been good against the Metapod and Kakuna. The second the much stronger Scyther comes out, the flying type isn't that good anymore. But Geodude with Rock Flow actually comes in super clutch for this gym, and maybe the next one too. Slowpoke well did come with a closed encounter for our newly acquired Bellsprout, and I did run into a Zubat, which I knocked out. Our first missed encounter. I lead into Bugsy with Pidgey because it's slightly faster and to avoid any chip damage on my Geodude, which a single gust gets rid of Metapod and makes Bugsy so scared he brings out the Ace Scyther straight away, which makes for a really safe switch. His Fury Cutter is super weak, and Quick Attack I still resist, so a singular 4 times effective Rock Throw on the next turn wipes out the threat Scyther, and Kakuna uses Harden to stop the Rock Throw Oko. 1 more turn, and it's dead. Which I guess means it's time to go to the next generation. Generation 3 adds so many quality of life features, including one of the biggest ones, abilities. But it also does include too much water, which came me very true with my encounters. Granite Cave gave me my second chance at a Zubat, which I did catch, and 106 gave me the chance to knock out my Magikarp encounter for the run. Fishing in Petalburg actually got me a Goldeen, which I don't think I'll ever use. Fishing in Slateport got me a Tentacle, pretty bulky but not amazing. And Route 110 actually got me something I was pretty excited to get, a Gulpin. It's a pretty good utility mod, which I don't have yet. And for those keeping track, that's 5 out of my 14 Pokemon that are now water types. Oh, and we've got plenty of more of those to come. Now, growing up, I always feared this rival fight under the Psychopath. Fortunately enough, my Pidgey could take out the starting Lombre in this fight. The Slugma, a little bit annoying with its yawns, but nothing their Wartortle couldn't ultimately destroy. And then I went to Bellsprout to try and knock out this Marshtomp in one clean 4 times effective move, but the Mudshot got me to half health before I could do anything. But fortunately, Wooper could finish up with a couple of slams and get rid of this rival fight for me. And funnily enough, every game between now and Generation 6, we will have to do a rival fight. Having a ground type for this electric gym makes it so easy. I just broke Magnitude a couple of times and Watson fell over. Like, I wish I could hype this up, but this was super easy. But from this point onwards, everything gets so much harder. The first thing to do in Gen 4 is beat up Barry, who leads with the Staravia, who managed to get off a triple double team. I just gotta land one. I just gotta land one. Easy. Easy. Triple double team my ass, bitch. And then I end up with my Swallow versus the Prinplup. I would have gone into my Weaving Bell here, but the Prinplup has Peck, which I was unreasonably scared of. And, yeah, that was perfectly optimal. I played around my crit just right. But after that, a magnitude on the Ponyta just wipes it out. We're alive. We're all ready to go. Time to catch some Pokemon. 209, I get a Roselia, which is a massive grass upgrade from Weeping Bell. Lost Tower, I get a Ghastly, which would be great against the upcoming fighting gym, considering that all of our Pokemon seem to know Rock Tomb. 210, I get Sinnoh's only wildfire Pokemon, which we've been desperately missing out on. And 215, Scyther has joined our party now. Fuck you, Bugsy. Maylene is going to be the first gym leader that I'm actually going to have to put a little bit of thought into. Maylene leading with the Meta type is something I don't have a clear answer for, but nothing a little bit of Intimidate switching couldn't handle. So when Machoke comes in, I swap over to Gulpin so I can put it to sleep with Yawn and take a little bit too much damage for my liking, which allows me to bring in Crobat for the wing attack kill. And when Lucario comes out, back to Gyarados to lower the attack, and then just spam some wing attacks on my Crobat, and we're done. Now we're moving on to Gen 5, and I don't have a single fighting type move across my whole team to deal with this Excadrill. One of the strange parts of going up to Generation 5 is that my level cap is actually lower than it was in Generation 4. So I had to rebuild a new squad for this leg of the run. And after doing so, you know the sad Pokemon music, which every Nuzlocke plays whenever they lose one of their Pokemon? That starts playing. No, it's the sad music. And it's time for a rival fight against Cheren, which hopefully we won't have any close calls like last time. He leads with a Lipard with Pursuit, which is a move that does extra damage if you try to switch out, which does nothing to me on this first turn. So on the next turn, I decide to switch out. Let's go into Pidgeotto. I got pursued! So let's fade in Black and White Emotional real quick as we say 07 to our first loss of the run. At least it was only a water type. We got plenty of those. On Route 5, I catch a Cincino. Spending 20 minutes running across the bridge, I catch another water type. And then I arrive at the cold storage, which is a chance where I can finally get that fighting type that I want. Yeah, Excadrill's weak to fire, but fire's also weak to ground. And I could rely on Quagsire, but the truth is, fighting isn't just good for this gym. Not only is one of our Elite Four members also going to be Steel type, but our last gym leader also has a Duraludon, which fire also isn't going to be great on. So a big potty fighting type would be great right now. Vanilla, we'll take the ice type, I guess. Cold storage really wasn't that difficult, but again, having to go up against a bunch of dark types was a little bit frustrating. But inside the cold storage, I did come across an item that was so good that they nearly removed it from Scarlet and Violet. Scold, a powerful water type move which has a 30% chance just to burn your opponent, which now is an exclusive move to Volcanion. It's that good. Looking this up, actually, I guess they added it back to a couple of Pokemon during the DLCs, but it's still very limited, okay? For Clay, I reassembled my team back to look a bit more professional, handed out a few of the spare items I had laying around. Roserade just one-shot Krokorok and Palpitoad, but the Excadrill that I've been harping on about for the last 3 minutes, let's talk about that. I tried some Intimidate shenanigans, but due to Excadrill having Hone Claws, it ended up being +1 after the exchange. So go to Wooper, you Scold and try and get a burn. Though I do take one Rock Slide on the switch, which activates my Oran Berry, just giving me back that 10 HP. I think my health is looking pretty good though, so I go for one more Scold to fish for that burn, but he goes for a Slash this time. Leaves me on 10 HP. This was calculated. And my Scold gets him really weak and burns him, so he dies at the end of that turn anyway. And we graduate to the third dimension now. Gen 6 is probably the least amount of time I spend in a single game. We started off with a rival fight, which the last hit point's the only one that really matters if you think about it. At this point, it's just tradition that the rival fight comes close. Now, having fighting types, kinda cringe. And in Route 14, I use Repel so I can go for the Surf Encounter, which gets me a 50-50 chance between a Stunfisk and a Goomy, which a Pseudo-Legend would be really cool. Stunfisk. This is like another ground type, but it is like my first electric type, and it's not even good, but... And then in the city, I fish for a Poliwag, which will finally get me that fighting type that I need. The gym here isn't too bad at all. We have the poison types to deal with the fairies, and it's over pretty quickly. Now we go to the longest and maybe the hardest stretch of the game. Before I tell you the tale of the most unforgiving section of the game, it's about time I tell you to subscribe. I've done plenty of Nuzlockes like this before, so thank you. On the trip to Alola, a bunch of our trade evos evolved, which is good because this is definitely the hardest stretch of the run so far, considering we have 2 Kahunas, 2 Guzma fights, Lucamine, and the final Totem Komodo to beat. But we have plenty of time to catch new friends during the journey too. And let's hope we don't lose any of them dying to battles or failing to get a visa to the Galar region. On the way up to Po Town, I catch a Drizzle Pelipper, a Cottony. This is actually probably my second favorite Pokemon, and unfortunately a Pharaoh. I always forget that Alola is technically based off a state of America, but the second that they make me pay for healthcare, it brings me back to reality. I'm not going to spend too long on this first Guzma fight, but his Golisopod only knows First Impression, Sword Stance, and Razor Shell. After that first turn, I can go straight to my Water Absorb Poliwrath to take any boosted Razor Shells and take 0 damage. This will come more into play during the second Guzma fight. Coming up next is the Dark Kahuna Nanu, and I'm pretty excited to get this done because I actually have like a fighting type this time, but currently his only fighting type move is Dynamic Punch, which is 50% accurate. And if you know anything about Pokemon, if it's not 100%, it's basically 0. So whilst I'm on my other monitor trying to look up where the Brick TM is, which apparently is just in the first fucking trial, I guess. I'm matching a little bit too hard, and I didn't think it was right now. I thought I had a little bit of time. Fuck. I guess we're doing this now, huh? Golden takes out the Sableye, though comes out at about 50% health, and Pizzy one-shots Krukorok through the confusion. But that brings us out to the Persian, which I mistakenly said, okay, I think I just win now. I think that was his scariest mon. Oh, how wrong was I? I go into Poliwrath anyway, despite still not having Broke Break, and use Body Slam to eventually get him super weak. But he fucking full heals! If I had Brick Break, this thing would have been dead by now. I was in full panic at this point. I was swapping through teammates, like trying to find something to work. Unfortunately, Scyther took a Power Gem and it's still 4 times effective, it turns out. And now Golem is in. Persian decides to use the Kamehame Z move. I'm going to claim this Golem Death as optimal. He's not in the Galar anyway, so if someone had to die, it's the one not making the trip. Poliwrath ends up getting the Persian almost dead, but I don't want to risk staying in, so I go to Pidgeot, who I assume's going to kill with the wing attack, and doesn't. There's a 3rd dead. Gengar does end up cleaning the kill, but 3 dead, and I'm only a 1/3 of the way through my Pokemon Sun section. We're not going to lose any more, right? To make it for our last, I do go to the desert and pick up an Intimidate Sandile. Actually something good. And a slight detour to go pick up the Break TM, but that's all I get as I go to Aether Tower for our Guzma and Lusamine fights. Mommy, sorry. Guzma number 2. As a leader, he decides to use that Sword Stance. So as I explained earlier, I go to Poliwrath to take any upcoming Razor Shells and force the emergency exit. The Masquerain, Ariados, and the Golisopod get a bunch of my guys really weak, but I do end up killing them in the process, which leads me to my 40% alive Togekiss staring down a Pinsir. And at this point, we have to go into tryhard mode, figuring out if there's any way I can get out of this alive. Unfortunately, Togekiss goes down. Which, need I remind you, Fairy type going up against the Komodo, Raihan, and Hassel would have been really, really nice. But after that, I have to do a little bit of intimidating on the Pinsir to weaken it before I can end up getting the kill. I really think this could have been avoided if I would have just thought a bit earlier. I think the right move here was to bring Pharaoh in the back instead of Whimsicott. It's at this point Lusamine rips a total in time and space. I get sucked all the way through and I get isekai'd and reincarnated as an anime girl on the internet. Okay, Lusamine meantime, Clefable dies. Melodic dies. Lilligant also dies. Next comes in the Beware, which is no moves that are effective against my ghost type, so I bring it in. Turns out the AI in this game has at least 1 brain cell and actually switches out to the Miss Magius. So I go into my Rat and I go for a Sucker Punch. Should kill. Didn't kill? How did the Rat not kill? I'm certain that I outspeed. Wait. How do I not outspeed? Into Whimsicott and does eventually get the kill. So after punching this guy over and over again, just about make it out. I don't mind the Rat dying, but Gengar was definitely in my scope of vision for maybe coming to the Elite Four. Now I catch a couple of more encounters, but the only one that really matters is Granbull, a new fairy type. And then on Executor Island, I catch, guess what? Now is the final Kahuna Hapu, who, by the way, whose best Pokemon is 3 times higher than my level cap. But did I mention that I had a bunch of water type Pokemon? Yeah, this was pretty easy. Okay, apart from the Gastrodon, who I use Roserade on. And for this Komodo fight, I did a classic. When you've got no real good options to go off of, Toxic Storm, baby. Though the fight did come with a couple of close calls, we did come out of it fully alive. And that means I can finally close my DS and move to my home region. Galar. And in the Great Exit of 2019, we lost 6 valiant soldiers. And in this gen, we have no new encounters to replace them. But looking at what I have left, and considering this final gym has the theme of weather double battles, and I have a metric shit ton of water Pokemon, let's make Wolfie proud. I get myself into a favorable position, but my Poliwrath gets hit by a glare, making it fully paralyzed, which is a big problem because he's not holding an item until this happened. I just got Gen 8 into good luck. This is a little mechanic in the game called Friendship. Originally added as a way to evolve certain Pokemon, but since Generation 8, it will randomly act as a Lumberry or even a Focus Sash, 2 of the best items in the game. But from this point, I just use Yawn to stall out the giant skyscraper, and I won the 8th gym badge pretty easily. But as I swapped over to our final game, nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to see. All these Pikachus are Pokemon that didn't make the trip. I have 9 Pokemon remaining, and this is with the Indigo Disc installed. So if I didn't have that, 4 more would have gone. But I have 7 new encounters to get here in Paldea, and I'm just going to be going to random raid downs to see what they are. So fingers crossed for something good. 2-star Spoink. It feels like a good Psychic type, I'd consider it, but okay, please be good, please be good. Shop it. I really want a Fire type. Oh, that's a Cub too. Well, Bertic's good for the ground type. It's good against the Flying type too. Actually, Bertic might be good. Bertic's actually good against 3 at 34, but that doesn't matter because my next 2 encounters might have saved the run. It's a Dragonite. A Tinkaton? I can get Fire Punch, right? We'll bring in Tinkaton. That is so fucking good. So here's the final squad for the Elite Four. Let's hope I can do this. So I just Giga? Okay. I just got Friendship saved. So after the game literally cheating for me on that first turn, the Restorica was so easy and done. It pretty much one-shots. Poppy was definitely a little bit harder, but the sub-bulk up Drain Punch set on my Poliwrath came in clutch and a couple of Intimidates around to Crocodile for the support. Gotta remember, Magnezone does not have Levitate. It has Study. It means that we can take out this child. Did they employ a child here? Can be taken down with ease. 2 down. 2 down. Now, Larry is so much harder than the 2 that came before him. Though Tropius dies in 1 Ice Fang, the Staraptor comes in with its own Intimidate, but its Brave Birds hit so hard. He crit me and I landed on 7. But after giving itself a bunch of recoil damage from Brave Bird, Tinkaton can come in with a Gigaton Hammer. The next 2 Pokemon fall really quickly, and out comes the Flamigo. And I sit and think about what my best play is, and unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to one of our team members. Executor dies to the Terra boosted Brave Bird, so I can get a safe swap into my Crocodile for the Intimidate. Wait, does Scrappy prevent Intims? But it does make the Flamigo click Liquidation as I switch into my Tinkaton and surviving. And thanks to all the recoil damage, the Gigaton Hammer kills this bird. Hassel has a team of really stacked mons. Unfortunately, Ice Fang is 4 times effective against Noivern. Next comes out the Drowgy, which the Play Rough on Tinkaton does just a little over half. That was a crit. I thought I'm a little scared of that 5% chance to miss. So I make a pivot all the way to Krokorok so we can finish off with an Earthquake. For the Flapple, I make the pivot over to my Dragonite for the Ice Punch. And now for the scary Haxorus. Play Rough getting it to a quarter left. And I don't want to risk the miss again, so I just Gigaton Hammer to secure the kill. And lastly is the Terra Dragon Baxcalibur, of which I have to play this super risky game. Swapping to Krokorok to take a Brick Break and Intimidate, swapping to Poliwrath to take the Icicle Crash, and then swapping back to Tinkaton to take any Glaive Rushes, until all 5 are gone. But a crit at any point will ignore all my Intimidate drops and kill any of my mons. And once all the Glaive Rushes are gone, I stay in on Poliwrath and click Drain Punch, but it turns out the Glaive Rushes aren't gone. 5 HP. Plus the recurve brings me up way above what I started at. So 1 more Drain Punch knocks out the Baxcalibur, and there's only 1 trainer left. One of my favorite things about doing a Nuzlocke is experiencing new Pokemon that I usually just throw to the side, and coming up with cool strategies to make everything work. But let's see if this team is actually good enough to beat the champion. 5-stat boost is stat boost, so I can't do dance right now. We crunch. Yeah, okay, there's a reflect. You know, I don't think this does much for me. I think I 3-hit and it can't kill me in 2. Yeah, my Spadef drops. Okay. What comes out now? Oh, King Gambit's coming out already? King Gambit's really fucking slow though, right? Oh yeah, this guy's like 50 speed. He dies to a 4 times Wii Dream Punch. How does he not? How does he not? Oh, Reflect. Reflects up. Let's get some health back. We go here and Fire Punch now. He does have Play Rough. He bulked up. Come on. Don't play rough. Don't play rough. We bring that back down a little bit, yeah? We bring that back down a little bit. Alright, Hornleech is coming back. Hornleech is coming back. Not very effective. Awesome. We should kill at this point, I think. No! Okay, Hornleech does next to nothing. Die to the Rocky Helmet. Nice. I'm definitely faster than it. Yeah, and this has got defense out the ass. So I can come in and now Drain Punch for super effective. Okay, I should sub bulk up. Oh, it faded me? I can live another body press, right? With an EQ? I think he just threw. Only 2 Pokemon left. Oh, I think I'm free. I think this is free. Wait. Yeah, I think this just does liquidation on me and just heals up punch. Oh no, it has Mold Breaker. I'm stupid. Now it's -2. I should be good just to crunch now without having to worry about liquid. Oh, 1 HP, man. Glimora, final Pokemon, which will Terra Rock. It's slower than me too. Which means once it Terra Rocks, EQ will be fully effective. Well, it's already 4 times effective as it is. It actually makes it weaker. It's faster than me? Oh, 1 HP on the crit. GG's! Multi-gen luck is done.